Today's ginger water. Today we learn about getting whole ginger root, probably about this much. Maybe you can add more, less. You can use a cheese grater. We're going to steep it. Get some water in there. So we have a couple quarts of water in there. Let's see. So we're just shredding this so that we can get some of the juice from the root into the water. Very basic process. If you have a grater like this, a trick I can show you, like that, you flip it this way, it comes right off. Okay. The shredding doesn't have to be perfect in any way. This is some really good ginger. I just bought it today. So it's got a lot of juice in it. See, like this, you could just throw it in there with the chunk. That's fine. You don't want to get your fingers that close to the grater. Notice I'm not measuring any of this, but I would guess it's a few cups packed. Because see, it gets really shredded, so measuring it is quite different than when it's like this. I suppose I could weigh this maybe, and if I did, I would say maybe, probably about 8 ounces. It'll be very strong, and at the end, you'll see it'll get diluted, because this will be 1 gallon finished product. You can do less. Once you see how the process goes, you can do whatever. Now ginger, you may go to the market and see that it runs anywhere from $4 to $6 a pound. And you may think that's expensive, and it kind of is, but you're only doing maybe a half a pound at a time. Now the other thing, you can go to Asian market, or I got this at an actual Mexican market, La Macaro Fresco. It was only $2 a pound. The Asian market's usually $2 a pound. A lot cheaper and usually a lot fresher. So there's a good tip. You got an Asian market or some other ethnic market. Look for ginger. You get it a lot cheaper usually than your mainstream supermarket. Now, okay. I'm doing this real fast because I have somewhere to be. Let's look at this, okay. So, we have, this is cooking up. I want to know something. See how I have that on high? I only have that on high because I'm trying to get the water heated up. Now, the best place to put this is actually going to be, you're going to be surprised. It's like right about there. Because what's going to happen is you can already see it's foaming up. There's some foam generating. Now when that gets real hot, it'll foam up. You get that thing hot, it's going to foam up all over. It'll go all over the stove, and you'll just have this stuff. See, it's already getting puffy in there. And there's a lot of acid in there, so it really kind of, it kicks up, kind of like if you put way too much detergent in the laundry machine. See? So, we'll just let that, if you put a lid on it, which I think I'm going to do, if I could find my lids. Let's see if we have them here. My kitchen's a mess. I don't know. See this pot, see this lid? You notice this pot has a lip on it, on each end, so that I can pour at the end. This is a very handy, and the lid has sieves on each side, so I can put that on there, and then when I'm ready, I can filter that. Because what we'll do is when that is done, of course it'll need to be strained out. So we can set that on this setting. I would say for probably, now that the water's already hot, I don't know, let it steep for about 40 minutes. It can steep for a while. Just make sure that your water doesn't disappear. You'll notice that it'll start moving around in there, of course, and the water will be, you'll be able to see the water, because it'll start moving. The ginger will start moving through the water, and you'll be able to see the water, and it'll become brackish, not blackish, but it'll turn color and get more brownish looking, and the more you steep it, you get everything out of that ginger. But you just want to be careful. Watch your temperature on that thing, because even with the lid on, it'll lift that lid up and it'll push it off of there if that ginger really gets going. And you notice, see how much of water I got in there? That's really borderline, because that water will shoot up over the edge real fast once it gets full of all the oxygen and all the acid and everything's coming out of that ginger. So, alright, like I said, we'll let that sit. It's right now we got 11:32, and I have an appointment. We'll leave at noon, so maybe we'll come back and check on that, and then I'll just turn it off. Give you more tips later. Okay, learn how to do ginger and be healthier, have a lot more opportunities to avoid sickness, because the ginger is full of antibiotics, just very pure antibiotics.
antibiotic properties in there, helps build the immune system immensely, and it's also full of anti-inflammatories. So generally, a lot of times what happens, the first thing when you're attacked, your immune system's attacked, the first thing that happens is your body inflames itself to protect those areas where it's been infected. And so this really helps in a lot of those ways. It's a good preventative. You drink it all the time, and you kind of tend to avoid that stuff. Right then, we'll check back later. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes. And I just wanted to show you kind of what it looks like as it's going through. Whoop, that didn't work out. Let me clean that off. There you go. See, it kind of gets puffy in there. It's coming up. See, and it's simmering below there, and eventually that stuff, it will, the fluids will come out of that ginger, and it'll start to really mix with the water, and then it'll start falling to the bottom and moving around. So we'll just let that go. Needs to steep. Alright. Wow, I wish you guys could smell this. It really smells good. It's not too much. Okay, so there you go. See how it all comes up around the edge? It just kind of cooks off of there. And we got just the right amount of boil. Notice the time. So, been about a half hour of it steeping and boiled for about 15 minutes. I'm just going to go ahead and then turn this off. And I got to go somewhere. And so that can just sit there and it'll steep. It'll just kind of cool off, and it can sit there for quite a while. The thing is, if it does, it sits there for a while, it'll actually cool down, and when it cools down, all that ginger will drop to the bottom of the pan, and it'll make it a little bit easier to pour because you won't have all that ginger mixing in with your drinks. You really don't want the pulp in there. Unless you like it, you put it in there. It's a lot of pulp. So anyway, we'll let that sit there and simmer. It'll just simmer down and sit there, and I'll be gone for about an hour or so. And yeah, so we'll check back. So we have a big glass jar that we tend to use this glass because when the ginger is ready, typically we'll do it while it's still hot, and this is so that the honey and the lemon can kind of melt and dissolve together with the ginger real well, and it kind of marries itself. Fresh lemon, as I just mentioned, pretty much the way I always go. I've never used jar or whatever, lemon out of a jar. Always squeeze it, but that's my preference. It's more there for flavoring, but it does add a good amount of vitamin C. So I'm just getting this prepped. The ginger, of course, is ready because we turned it off. It's pretty much been steeping all afternoon. You could always add more lemon, less lemon. No lemon. Okay. I'm going to show you guys something. Here is it's finished. Like I said, all the ginger, because it sat there and cooled off enough, it had settled to the bottom. So now when I pour it, it'll be easier to keep it separated. Plus I have my lid has that, which is helpful, and it has that lip. I'm gonna go ahead and get that in there. Oh, by the way, we were noticing time before. Yeah, I've been gone a little while, so let's see here. Get that back up there. How's that? So get that in the jar. So you may find that you really like this pulp and you'll want to be eating it, so just eat it. Alright. So we have lemon and honey that goes in there. Now the honey is definitely just there for flavor. And there's benefits to it, but it's just a regular basic honey, the cheap stuff. And put a lot in there if you want, or a little. I mean, you can put sugar in there if you want, but it kind of defeats the purpose of being healthy, because sugars don't do well, especially when you're feeling sick. See how dark that stuff is? So that's pretty dark, but I'm going to add more water to it. I just wanted to get the honey in there while they still had enough heat to melt it. A little more honey. We're cooking a gallon here. Okay, we'll get our fresh squeezed lemon, or you could use lime, oranges, you can put whatever. This does seem to do pretty good though. Something I came up with. Just reading about health benefits. Actually, this all started because my wife Julia was suffering from cramps every month, and they were getting bad. And so I came up with this idea as a way to reduce the inflammation for her. And then we found there's so many other benefits to it, we just drink it all the time. You gotta add more water. So all I did was just add 2 more quarts, because like I said, that was a 2-quart pan. Pretty concentrated, heavy, strong. Now this is a full gallon.
this is a big jar, and what I'll typically do is put that into smaller jars, like maybe 2 half-gallon jars, or you can mix it up and put it in divide it into quarts, just so it's easier to get in and out of the fridge. This will get refrigerated. You can take it out, heat it up, put it in the microwave. Drinking it warm is great. Another thing we'll do is mix it with sparkling water. That can, like LaCroix or something, mix it, open up one of them and blend it with that. It's really good that way. It's great with dinners. So, let's see. Okay. So I was gone all afternoon doing physical therapy, and so now I'm going to drink a big glass. I'm going to drink a lot of this, actually. Not all at once, but this probably yes, so I can help cleanse my system some more from that physical therapy. Releases a lot of toxins, and there's minor inflammation at first, so this is going to just help me stay more physically fit. That came out good. The right amount of spice. It's spicy. Like I said, if it's too spicy, you can make it less. But we like to think that if it's spicy, you're getting a lot more benefits. And then you can always cut it with seltzer water or something too. Okay, good luck. Let me know how it goes.